It's simple. Ask me if I owe Kyna money right now.
Do you owe Kyna any money?
No, I don't owe Kyna money.
Coming to you straight from Las Vegas, it's the Poker News Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Poker News Podcast. This is episode 821. I am your host, Chad Holloway, joined by my co-host, Mike Holtz, a.k.a. Brock Lesnar on mine, and Kyna England, the star of Game of Gold.
Hi.
Let's crack lacking, boys and girls.
We've got a great episode. We got a lot to talk about. Last week was Maurice Hawkins. This week is going to be this guy over my right shoulder, Tom Dwan. It's been the talk of the poker industry for quite a while. I got to go one-on-one with him not once, but twice in interviews that I can only describe as, I guess, erratic, word salad.
Sure. Yeah, that's one way to describe him.
Yeah. Let me tell you how this came about. Let's just jump right into it. So Tom Dwan and me, I don't say go way back, but we first started communicating with each other during the whole Robbie J. Lou Hustler Casino Live cheating scandal. And Tom had some very hot takes on it, and he would message me because he thought we were trying to slow play it or do it for clicks, what have you. Anyways, when this started going on, and what this is
wait, Tom Dwan's got some conspiracy theories? I am shocked.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly. But okay, so this is what happened. Peter Jetten, poker pro, who's not really around too much these days, says, hey, he owes me some money, like $230-something thousand. And then Haralabas Vulgaris, he chimes in on Twitter, says, oh yeah, he's owed me money for 10 years. And then it just blew up into this thing, right? And I reached out to Dwan, said, hey, we're going to write a story about this. Would you like to talk about it? And he said, sure. And then amidst all this, he gets a sponsorship deal, right?
Right.
And so it's like, all right, let me use that as a hook. Let me see if I can talk to him about the sponsorship and then maybe ask some of the more controversial questions.
Maneuver
right?
in there, yeah.
So Friday night, I get in touch with Tom. He says, let's do it. So send him the Zoom link. Here we go. Oh, he just announces, by the way, he's on his phone. I have 4% battery.
Right, yeah.
Great. Let's see how long this lasts, right?
Right, yeah.
And so it starts into this kind of chaotic interview of, we got this clock ticking. We don't know how long his phone is going to go. And we want to talk about the sponsorship of this other stuff. And he's literally coming off a Twitter rant. So he's heated. He's emotional. Yeah. You guys seen probably that first one. It wasn't very good.
Oh, I saw everything. I saw, the rant, the videos. Yep, saw it all.
Kind of like you watch it. So the other one was 45 minutes long where we really got to address the accusations, but did we really address them?
I watched the long one. I attempted to watch it all. Things that I took away from it are this guy's trying to paint a picture, but it's ridiculous. And he's coming at me like this so he can go fuck himself. Like literally that's what he said on repeat. And I'm not sure he answered a single question. But, I don't know. Do you talk in circles, word salad? That sounds
There were so many times.
Like a good term for it.
There were so many times watching it, like I was thinking to myself, like, oh shit, I must have rewatched this part by accident. And like it was crazy. It was the exact, I felt like I was going through deja vu, you know what I mean?
I got a lot of feedback on it and read a lot of the responses on social media, and a lot of people coming off against Dwan, like, why can't he just give a straight answer? Because I did ask some very pointed yes or no questions, and then you get a ramble for 5 minutes. Yeah. And like a lot of people thought, what is he trying to hide? What is he trying to talk his way out of? But that's just Tom Dwan. Like if you've ever had a conversation with Dwan, that's how he is. He reminds me a lot of Phil Locke, who I absolutely adore and love. But if you see him like on High Stakes Poker episodes recently, you ask him a question and he's going to go off for
No, but Phil Locke will hit you with like you'll ask Phil Locke how he's doing. He'll be like, how am I doing? How's the earth doing? You know what I mean? That's a different thing where Tom Dwan, you ask him how he's doing. He's just going to like start looking at the ground and saying weird things. And you know what I mean? I feel like they are different characters, Phil Locke and Tom Dwan for sure. And yeah, I don't know. Tom kind of reminds me of someone who like went to prison and then came out and shit's just different now. You know what I mean? Like,
that prison was the high stakes world over in Macau for many years,
yeah,
right?
Sure, yeah.
To give the viewers and listeners a little taste of what we're talking about, I'm going to play a clip here from that first interview when I asked him basically just straight up whether he wants this to be resolved, and do you want this situation to be resolved, whatever that might mean, right? And this was his response. Is it, obviously it's something you don't want to have to deal with, but it is out there. Is it something you're hoping to get resolved, sooner than later?
What do you mean by resolved? I mean,
I guess that's a good question. Yeah. Like, do you agree with what they're saying? Like, do you owe them that, or you're saying?
When you saw the thing I just said to Peter like pissed me off enough, and I was like, there were 2 times I was like, listen, like, I didn't mind taking the worst of it or whatever. He pissed me off enough. All right, we can arbitrate. And then he was like, no, we're going to arbitrate in the court of public opinion or some shit. And when he knew I didn't have my Twitter too. And I'm like, okay. And then yeah, whatever. Because there's like old texts and stuff that he's saying are a certain way. I'm like, okay, then send them to me. It's not credible to say you think someone owes you money and you're not going to help any. You're not going to say, that's just not realistic. Like, and it just like out of, whatever. It's a spot I'm very grumpy about, but
that's fair. Well, all right, so you can kind of see like it's just not a simple answer, and that was from the first interview when we are in a rush, right? When I got to do the second interview, it was under the premise of we're going to talk about nothing but this. We're going to really get into it, and I'm going to ask some questions. These questions, Tom Dwan did not have. I didn't show it to him. I didn't tell him. He didn't. His only request was, will you send me a copy of the video afterwards? So that way, if we do any editing or cut it in any way, like he has the raw video. And I thought, absolutely, that's fair.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. So this interview was 45 minutes long. And right out of the get-go, I asked him, all right, let's jump into it. Point blank, do you owe Peter Jetten $226,000?
Right.
And this is going to be a few minutes long clip, but that's because that's a yes or no question for the most part, and you get a 3-minute answer. Here's what Tom had to say to that one. That said, I do want to ask a few kind of hardball questions on this one.
Go for it.
So let me just start. Peter Jetten says you owe him $226,000. Do you?
So I backed Peter for a long time, right? I actually only had half the backing deal, right? And my opinion is he's trying to paint a specific story, right? And people in like the high stakes gambling world, as an example, one of the things is he didn't send me accounting, right? And then he's like, oh, well, you had it in this one place from years ago. Like, that's not, I've had plenty of people owe me money. Plenty of them still do. I've had times I owed people for stuff. When someone says, please send me the accounting, or stop yelling at me, send me the fucking accounting. Like any of these things, if you think someone owes you money, you send them the accounting, right? He had some cash out. I don't remember the exact terms. I remember I was like livid around the cash out and I just wanted nothing to do with staking him ever again, right? And when I asked him details around it, he still hasn't sent those. Like he one time told me, oh, it's not related. And I'm like, okay, like it was much different when he was saying, please cover this thing. Oh, you had half the deal, but the other half was a buddy of ours. I had a bunch of dealings with it. It was through, no, there's an argument for me covering the other half. Instead of saying, please do this. Oh, I'm in a bad spot. Oh, please don't, give me a hard time. He owes 1.6 million in makeup, right? Please don't give me a hard time on that. Instead of saying those things, right, he's saying like, you're a piece of shit. Fuck you. And then like, it seems clear to me he's going to be trying to paint a story with texts and shit. He wouldn't even send me our fucking texts. Finally, yesterday he did. But that was only after someone else pressured him. So the other thing is, it's not like he fronted this money, right? A well-known person in the poker world have fronted for those buy-ins, right? And that guy was here. That guy's like, oh, dude, I thought you had all Peter's deal. Oh, you only had half. I still fit out this amount, right? Like that's how it normally goes down when someone, right? And so then I was like, okay, like reasonable. And that guy, I'm happy to deal with. That's like no problem, right?
When you say that guy is here, do you mean they're in Jeju at the Triton?
Yeah. We already talked twice or something, and it like me and Peter shit spilled onto that guy a bit much. Was that more because of Peter, more because of me? Whatever, right? Like I don't, and that person's being reasonable. We're
talking about staking and buy-ins from, according to Peter, from the 2020, I think Aussie Millions down in Australia, the high rollers. Is that accurate? Is that what this is centered about?
I think, I'm not sure, but I didn't even know these details till a month ago or whatever, like 3 days before he he finally sent me accounting, right? And then he tries to say like, oh, I gave Tom a hard time, so this is why he sent money. No, I fucking sent my half, whatever the balance was. I think it was actually like 33 or something. I sent 30 because I didn't want to fucking read through because he was sending me crazy messages because he finally sent me accounting.
All right. So there you can it's
super clear. I understood. I completely get you, Tom.
Sure. Yeah.
It took 45 minutes for me to get what I think is a grasp on it, even though I still don't think, I think I understand it 90% of the way. And I think what it boils down to is a situation like this. Is back in 2020, Peter Jetten was going to play Aussie Million high rollers, which he did. And he sold action to this, reached out to what appears to be two people in the high stakes poker community. One is Tom Dwan. The other is somebody I know. I know the name. Everybody knows the name, but I'm not going to share it because that was one of the things that Tom said, please don't. And I'm going to respect that because I don't want to drag that person into this. But it sounds like they both took half the action. And then Tom seemingly forgot about it, or it wasn't very clear.
Right.
Now Peter Jetten is coming around saying, hey, I want this $226,000. Tom is like, what are you talking about? I don't remember this. Show me proof. And then Peter takes it to social media, into the public sphere. And now Dwan is pissed off, basically saying, well, all right, if you want to be a bitch about it, how about all that makeup from when I was sponsoring you, the 1 point whatever million? Why don't you pay me that back? Right. And it's kind of like one of those, if I loan Kyna money, like here's $10 for gas, and then a year later, I'm like, hey, Kyna, how about that $10 in gas? And you say, well, shit, what about all that food I bought you, all those drinks?
What about all those drives I gave you? And wasn't there sort of some conflicting stuff coming out too? Because someone else did a big post and it sounded more like, at first it sounded like it was a payout, right? They agreed to split a payout and then he was owed that money. But then it came with this money was for buy-ins that I fronted for Tom, and he owed me that money because it was actual buy-ins that he had pieces of. So, I mean, I don't think it makes a difference, either one of those. It sounds like you guys just got to figure this out, I think. But yeah, I mean, I can see the argument, like where Tom's coming from, but that's just not really how it works.
I don't see it.
Well, I mean, I get the point. I'm just saying, I get the point he's making.
That's cap.
Well, but also this guy just left the poker world, right? It's not like he went and played for someone else or played on his own money. So it's that would be a little shitty, right?
All right, let's say I owe you $40,000. I'm just putting a random number out there. I leave Vegas. I stop hitting you up. And then 4 years later, I come back. I can't be like, hey, I've been out of Vegas for 4 years. I thought that money doesn't exist, baby girl. You're...
Well, I mean, it would definitely make a difference why you owed me the money. First of all, right? I mean, if I was backing you and then we decided, okay, I'm not backing you anymore and you're not playing poker anymore. That's different. That's okay.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Makeup gone. No makeup, but makeup regardless, there should be an agreement. If he wanted out or if Tom was dropping him, then, usually you agree to some sort of payout, right? Percentage that you have to pay back. I am curious
about the makeup thing. Did they come to some sort of agreement prior to that, or?
Well, that's, again, one of those things that isn't very clear. And then I want to try to get some clarity on this situation. Another thing I asked, which I'm going to share here, I point blank asked him about midway through the interview, Tom, in your mind, do you owe Peter Jetten money? Right? Should be, again, yes or no answer.
Yeah, of
course. But this one's only about a minute-long clip, but I'm going to play that answer right there. In your mind right now as we're talking then, do you feel that you are square with Peter and you don't owe him anything?
I mean, if we actually talk through fair, right? He would owe me a bunch for the makeup's worth more than the amount he was complaining about. And I already talked with the other guy that had, right? Because I don't want that guy screwed just because Peter's spazzing and stuff when that guy didn't try to be weird with me and shit. So yeah, I mean that, but it's not like I'm trying to, Peter has no fucking money and shit, right? I'm not trying to, at least I didn't intend to put him in any bad spot and shit, right? I don't know how I feel now. I need to, I feel very burned by someone I had helped for fucking 10 or 15 years. So I don't,
Sure.
I don't know, but yeah.
All right. So as you can see, I think the essential answer is no, but it takes a long time to get there with Tom Dwan.
He's painting a picture. You know what I mean? He's just painting a picture and it's ridiculous. And, he's coming off this way. He's coming at me this way. It's the same things. He's literally saying the same thing over and over again.
If you don't owe someone money, it's simple. Ask me if I owe Kyna money right now.
Do you owe Kyna any money?
No, I don't owe Kyna money. Easy peasy.
Yeah, I mean, it should be that simple. And I did even ask in the conversation. Now, I should say we'll link to that full conversation in the show notes. You can watch that. It's on the PokerNews YouTube channel. Please do check it out. You'll really get the whole picture of what we're talking about.
The headphones do weird things to my hair.
No,
I'm just worried.
I need to check if I have any
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't do weird things to his hair.
No, my hair is looking crisp.
Must be nice. It's like bunching my hair all up.
Yeah, man, it must be terrible having all that
Before we
hair.
get too deep
totally
into
don't
this,
need any of that.
do you mind if I?
Oh yeah, this is the signature Kyna.
We heard that special mugs were requested. Somebody forgot today, but
I don't do my homework. I apologize.
but we need something to go in the special mugs, right? So cheers.
This is what
Yay.
we
It's
deliver.
5:00 somewhere.
Yeah, we deliver on the PokerNews
Chad,
podcast.
would you like some?
I've already got water in mine.
Oh,
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, it's not the first time I drank alone.
We're delivering on the PokerNews podcast what they didn't on Game of Gold, right?
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Cheers.
So a couple more things on Dwan real quick. One of the things he kept talking about in these interviews was, and kind of this is really going to be one for you because we talked about it off the air, the LARPing.
Oh my God. Like at first he said it and I was like, is he like mixing his words up? And then I was like, no, he's like using that in conversation. He thinks people are live action role playing integrity.
What?
Yeah. So LARPing, is live action role
Like
playing.
lightning bolt.
But honesty.
Oh, whoa. No, this is all
He
making a
said
lot
it
of
twice.
sense.
Like at first
Yeah.
I thought he maybe was talking really fast and he just made an oopsie. But then at the end of the interview, he says it again. And I'm like,
I think he was using it in essentially as virtue signaling, right?
right. Yeah.
But yeah, to say as LARPing was kind of funny. But I did use it as an opportunity to ask him, and this is funny, and we're going to talk about Alan Kessler a little later on in this show. But Alan Kessler came to me on Twitter about these interviews, and he said he sent me one word. And again, like I said in last week's episode, Alan and I have this sort of relationship. He said softball, right? Like I was asking softball questions.
You should have messaged him back and said, cornball.
I mean, I literally did message him back and said, Alan, I literally asked him, Tom, you've been talking about, you've used the words honesty and integrity. Do you consider yourself an honest man with integrity? Like that.
Yeah,
that's
you
not
literally asked that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not a softball question.
3-minute answer.
I mean, it was about another minute answer, and we got that clip as well. We're going to play it right here. I mean, you just use words like integrity and honest. Do you consider yourself those? I'm not saying you're not. I'm asking you, do you, in your view of yourself?
Yeah, I don't think I'm perfect, but I think I'm pretty willing to face that kind of thing, right? If I messed up some spot, I'm usually willing to own it. I'm not always going to get it perfect every minute or whatever. But yeah, and I think I think it's not good when people are trying to cause a bunch of shit so that they like look good or whatever. I think all that kind of stuff ends bad. Like FDX did a lot of that shit as an example, right? They tried to look like the voice of integrity. No one ever say anything bad about that, So I think anyone trying to say they're perfect, especially in the poker world, I think it should spook you, right? And I generally try to set it up where people don't need to trust me that much. And then if some spot comes up, sure, I'll try to. I'm not trying to say I'm perfect. I'll do everything perfect all the time, but like I'll try to be a decent human or whatever,
Mm-hmm. All right, so there you have it. I do have good news on this. There has been an update since I conducted that long interview on Sunday. We're recording this on a Wednesday evening. Peter Jetten did say yesterday on Tuesday, he tweeted, Tom has agreed to escrow the money and go to arbitration. Thanks everyone for the support, which I think is a good outcome in this situation.
Seems great.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good.
Yeah, that both can amicably agree on someone to mediate. Perfecto,
We will volunteer.
Yes.
The three of us.
Yeah.
I have lots of background in legal arbitration.
Yeah, I totally have time to do that.
It'll be interesting because as we've seen with Tom's clips and my interview, like there's just so many details and it's so much to sort through. They really do need to have somebody arbitrate this, sort through it all, send the text messages and just figure this thing out.
Yeah.
Because from what I gather, like this isn't Tom Dwan out scamming, trying to borrow lots of money with the intention of never paying it back. To me, this is Tom Dwan just being irresponsible, negligent and not keeping track of things.
Well, and hopefully they would get that mystery third party person involved too, because I mean, that person seems to have a lot of integrity. I mean, from what I've heard before, I've not been around a long time, so I don't know about a lot of the past stuff with people, 10, 15 years ago. But I think that would just definitely add to the integrity of figuring out the arbitration. I'm saying integrity too many times now, and it's just like
integrity.
Throwing back South Park.
Yeah, a little integrity never hurt nobody.
Integrity.
So we'll keep an eye on it going through arbitration. I think that is the best case scenario for this. So hopefully there's a resolution for them.
Would you guys lend Tom Dwan money?
I mean,
how much money? Like $10? All right, sure, Tom.
Yeah, just for the story. But I don't know. Tom Dwan seems like the type of guy who I wouldn't lend him money. Hell no. Tom Dwan seems like the type of guy who he places a lot of parlays. You know what I mean? I don't know. I grew up idolizing Tom Dwan. He was my favorite poker player when I started playing. Legitimately, when I played. I emulated him. I would do the mouth open, staring at the board, staring at people, and I idolized him as a player, and I remember the first time seeing him in Aria. Him and Ivy are the only two players where I've been like, oh my God, I cannot believe they're next to me right now. This is crazy. And now it's I don't know, he's kind of a weasel.
It's, I see exactly what you mean. And there was a lot of social media chatter about that as well in terms of just people saying you were my favorite player and now this crap, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. But I don't know, something I have plenty of friends, acquaintances who've gone to prison or have gone through drug addiction, whatever it is, and then come out the other side and they're different. I'm not saying that Tom Dwan has either one of those things, but my boy seems, I don't know, something seems off.
I don't disagree. There's been rumors over the years of different things. One of them, I was like, I got to take this opportunity to ask him.
That was great. Yeah.
It's, there's this rumor that when he was over in Macau playing these high stakes games and essentially disappeared from the public eye in the poker world for a long time, I was like, Tom, did the Triads kidnap you? Did they force you to go playing in these games and you're playing 24-hour sessions plus getting, burning out your brain type of thing? So I asked him, were you kidnapped by the Triads?
Right.
Because as far as I know, nobody's just asked him that. So
no,
I took
I've never heard him answer it. Yeah.
And so this is what he had to say. I got to ask you, it's like this urban legend that surrounds you. And I don't know if I'll ever get the opportunity again, but there's all these stories about Tom Dwan and being kidnapped and held hostage by the Triad.
I'm 1%, just so you know. No, that I don't know. Obviously Macau and stuff, there's overlap those kind of worlds, but I've never really had weird stuff like that. Other gambling spots had weird stuff like that or whatever, but I always was lucky that my friends, they weren't into weird stuff really. So
yeah,
I think it started Paul's case because they were, there were a bunch of things people said about Paul that were just very not true, and then people knew I was close to him, so I don't know.
All right, so as you can see, I think he got a little kick out of that. It doesn't seem to be the case that he was ever, kidnapped by the Triads.
Sure, yeah.
But I do think, he did spend a lot of time playing probably around the clock for many days on end. Sometimes people use certain things to assist you in that, and who knows the long-term effects of that, but certainly seems to be a little different, like you indicated. I did want to end it on a positive note with Dwan, though, in terms of, let's not talk all bad things. So one of the questions I did ask was, are you going to be at the World Series of Poker this year? And here was his answer to that. Will we see you at the World Series of Poker at all?
I mean, I was there last year. I almost played about 4 different tourneys, but there was a lot of cash, and I ended up just not each time. I think this year I almost for sure will. I played the main event last year, actually. I think I ran up chips actually for the first time ever, but still busted. Never cashed in the main event.
All right, so we will likely see Tom Dwan this summer at the World Series of Poker. I think that's going to be it for now. Like I said, it's going to be an arbitration. That's usually pretty private. I'll try to follow up with them when there is a resolution and see if there's something that I can share. I do thank Tom Dwan for chatting with me and being open and honest. And, this aside, like Mike, like you said, he was such a big presence in the poker world and still is to a large degree. And so it's one of those situations where I hope they can figure it out and he can get back back on top, especially now that he's sponsored. He's an ambassador that, he's got to worry about.
I would hope he would be around
right.
a little bit too. Like after getting such a big sponsorship, people are still fans. People will still want to see him out there.
Sure, I'm sure now that he has an ACR sponsorship, he's going to be real concerned with integrity.
He also skirted the bat question a little bit too.
Wait a second. What is going on? What are we doing here? Why I don't know. It's got to be a simulation, right? We're living in a simulation, right? The Tom Dwan ACR thing. What's up with the time?
Yeah, you asked him, you're like, are you going to help with them handling the bot situation? And he's like, it's pretty much just low stakes now. We're dust. Don't worry about it.
I will say this. When he was talking about, I think it was his ACR introduction interview or whatever, when he was talking about security and integrity, it's like, bro, you're not in the online streets. You don't know what's going on anymore. You have zero idea. So I don't know. Man.
I mean, I would argue that on the flip side of that, you are in the online streets every day.
Sure.
Out people left and right. Yeah. I checked the solver and someone else checked the solver at the same time.
Yeah, okay. Yep, that's exactly what happened.
Well,
but I don't know. You'll notice that I am one of the most profitable players on American sites, the most profitable last year, and I don't play any ACR, so that should tell you all you need to know.
There you go. Well, I want to thank our sponsor for this episode, and it is a regulated site, not here in the United States, but been around a very long time, and that is 888 Poker. 888 Poker is just getting geared up for their Mystery Bounty Festival. It's going to take place March 17th through the 26th. $215 buy-in, multi-flight main event, $300K guaranteed. There's over $1 million in guaranteed prize pools. If you can, check it out. That's 888 Poker. Also want to take this opportunity and let you know the Poker News podcast is going to be coming out every Friday. So if you want to stay on top of it, go ahead and subscribe, click. There's some sort of button somewhere where I'm pointing that they're going to put in there. So be sure to check that out. All right, let's talk about you two and some recent tournament playing that you've been doing, because you're not just co-hosts on the Poker News podcast. You both play quite a bit. Kyna, let's start with you, because after last week's episode, you flew back to the Midwest.
Go Kyna. Go Kyna.
I did. So I'm from Chicago, if you don't know, if you can't hear it in my horrible voice. But I got in.
Horrible. You're doing fine, Kyna.
It was my birthday weekend too. So I got to visit and play because they were having a WSOP circuit event there. So I got in time to play the ladies event on Friday, which was really fun. I got to see a lot of my friends and all my people. And literally my core poker group was there from the Midwest. And I just love that. I love when we're all together. I love just to hang out. I wouldn't even have mind busting and just going to D-Gen with them. It's always my favorite thing. But I ended up making the final table, and it was quite late for a ladies event. The ladies event started at noon, and this final table I don't think happened until 11 or something. And these ladies were not giving it up either. But early on, my whole friend rail came in. There was, I think, one other guy there that's wife was still in, and then 18 of my friends there. And
that's nice.
Yeah, they were all really excited and rowdy, and it was fun. I felt kind of bad though. I kept having to apologize to the table. I'm like, I'm sorry, you guys. And they're like, oh, it's okay. It's great to see that you have such great friends. And at one point, oh my gosh, the poker room manager tried to kick them out. And I was like, I swear to God, if I win this ring and my friends went home, you're never going to hear the end of it. I was trying to stick up. I was like, let the rail stay. But my one buddy, on the way out, grabbed the microphone too and is like, Kyna England's gonna win a tournament, over the whole speaker. And I'm like, this is how you get kicked out. And it was a bunch of rowdy things all at once, but there wasn't really
after the tournament, or
no, during while we're still playing, but it was so late.
Who's the mush?
Sarah. No, just kidding. just kidding, Sarah. Just kidding. I love you. No, but it was going so late too. So by the time he actually they were so loud and did this, there was barely anything else even going on in the room. And if you've seen that, it's a big venue. Yeah. It's there's a lot of room to be loud. Often, yeah. It's not all the tables are just right next to each other. So unfortunately, I did get heads up finally after forever. And, it was just not my day. I lost to actually a friend of mine that I used to play with back in the day, too. I've played poker at our house. We used to play just ladies sit and goes in Chicago when I was first learning. And my friend Julie she won the tournament, and I was happy for her. Like, she really wanted we talked about chopping because she really wanted the ring, and I really wanted the Tournament of Champions seat. And I was like, there's no way we can work that out, though. Like, they won't chop, we can't figure it out. You have to win the tournament to get the seat. So, but I'm glad. I was super happy she won, and hey, second place, I guess.
Yeah, she won it for $6,926. You got $4,278 for the runner-up finish, 128 entries in that tournament. Was there any wine involved in that run?
Oh, come on. I mean, I had just gotten into Chicago too, and all my friends were there. I mean, it doesn't, it does. I was going to say, like, people think that I'm, usually the wino and I'm always the drunk one, but you think I'm the drunk one. Let me show you my friends. Okay. Like, it's not always me. They were definitely all on a good one on the rail, but I loved it. It was so great. It was a great experience.
That's great. I loved it. Congratulations. It sucks you didn't get first.
Nah, I know. Next time.
Yeah, it's all good.
Second is better than fourth.
Yeah.
And that's what Mike got in the tournament. You were here just staying local in Vegas. The Wynn Millions is going on at the Wynn, and you had some success over there.
Yeah, so the Wynn's the best place to play in town. I mean, I absolutely love the Wynn. The staff, everybody there is awesome. So I'm playing the Wynn Millions basically every day right now. Got fourth in the 2,200 for like 70,000, 72,000, something like that.
73,106. Your second highest ever live score.
It's my second highest live score.
Is.
Sick.
Yay, go me. Yeah.
I don't mean to pull out my phone. I'm going to check. We're at the PokerNews is at the Wynn Millions doing live updates from the $3,500 championship.
Oh, yeah.
And they're heads up as
Oh,
we're recording
cool.
this
Awesome.
right now. So looks like it is Neil Murthy versus Christopher Frank, a German player who's pretty well known. So we'll see it. We'll check it again at the end of the episode. Maybe there's a winner by then.
Yeah, all right, sick. Awesome. Yeah, good for those guys. I'm totally not annoyed how I busted that tournament. I'm totally fine. Everything's fine.
Well, you want to tell us the bad beat?
I mean, I guess, yeah. No, I just lost aces versus jacks, all in pre for like 58 bigs each.
Didn't you just tell me a hand you went to the Wynn Millions and late registered the mystery bounty event and got it in with
it was ace queen versus jacks, yeah, but like it was like the first hand. I had this whole gas debacle yesterday, not like with my apartment's gas,
not in your belly.
Yeah, I had to wait all day for the gas guy to come.
I had multiple different types of gas debacles today and yesterday.
Well, my gas debacle meant waiting for the gas company to come turn the gas back on, and they came and finished at like 3:30. The late reg ended at 4:30. I booked it down there. I buy in. I get in at 4:15. I'm like, yes. I sit down. First hand. I have ace queen suited. I open. Guy 3 bets. And in the meantime, during this hand, everybody's like, oh, we love the Poker News podcast. It's so cool that you guys are doing that again. I'm like, oh, yeah, thanks, guys. Okay, I'm all in.
They got the bluff through?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm all in. And guy calls and just ace queen to jacks, whatever. And
But it was Jack on the river.
it was it was on the turn, but it was queen 7 queen, and in your head you're just like, yay!
No, not me. I know.
wait.
Live's
I know what's
rigged.
coming.
I didn't say it out loud.
No,
I just-
live's rigged
it
for
is,
action.
I
Everyone
know.
knows the only way to get fair things is play on regulated online sites like 888 Poker and WSOP.com.
That's true. It was terribly unfair, but it's fine.
Yeah. Well, what can you do?
Try again.
Yeah.
Well, I'm envious that you guys get to play. I haven't played in quite some time, but the WSOP circuit is coming to town at the Horseshoe in a week or two, so I'm hoping to get down there and play. Kyna, I want to talk to you, and Mike, of course, chime in here. We talked about the ladies event. We just talked about some of the reactions to the Poker News podcast, and we talked via text. Like, there was a couple not positive reactions to the podcast directed at you, right? And it wasn't. It was more indicative to me of what happens often when a woman in poker gets a spotlight, and then how some people perceive that.
I mean, people just want to see you lose. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like people want to see you lose, or they expect to see you win. And when those things don't happen, it's like you're in the middle and you're like, she sucks. Oh, like, look at that. I don't even know. The comments on the podcast like weren't terrible. One of them was like kind of funny, and I was like, is this a compliment or am I being shamed here? Like, I couldn't tell. I'm like, all right, good for me. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think more days, like as a woman I've not been around like super long time. And when I first started off my career, I was very like, yeah, advocate for women. Like, there needs to be more of us, and like, we need to come in and men need to treat us better. But now, as I've just played a long time and everything, I'm just like, we just need to show up, like you just need to show up and play your game and win. And let that do your talking for you. You know what I mean? Like, there's no advantage in this game given to women I mean, aside from our nice little ladies tournaments, like, which is a nice to have, and I appreciate when they have them and I like to play them, but I'm not going to like go out of my way and complain when there isn't one, you know, like we don't want them just to be straight up eliminated, and we don't really want to be treated differently, right? Like,
I have a different take on it, and I don't know if I'm wrong or not. I could totally be, but the way I look at it is like any event, like for ladies and things like that, like women are underrepresented in the poker community. They're underrepresented in the chess community, and like chess, I mean, they try to promote women's grandmasters, et cetera, and that's up the percentage of players who are women, right? So like I think anything that's good for women in poker, anything that brings more women in is good for the game. And I think a big problem in poker is the way that some men, especially from what I've seen, older men at the table will talk about women, and they'll say things to their face, and other players won't say anything. I mean, a lot of people are shy, whatever it is, but I think women do. I mean, I'm sure you've gone through some shit at the table. I mean,
and a lot of what you're saying too actually just comes along with being a good person, right? Like if you walk by and somebody's beating someone else up on the street, like, I mean, you're just going to walk by and be like, you know, I mean, maybe in some cases, or, you know, you might try and grab a cop or like try and do something. Like, I don't know. Like, I think it's the same thing. It's just if people are being mean to other people should step up. You know, like I've heard a lot of stories. Ladies have come to me and been like, yeah, this guy made me really uncomfortable at the table and I like didn't even know what to do. And then he berated me the whole time. And I just tell people straight up, if someone is commenting on how you play a hand at the poker table, they fucking suck. All right. Like there's no reason to do that. It's a game. It's a game that we all get to play however we want to. And if someone berates you at the table for the way that you played it, they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah. If anybody ever berates anyone at the table, and I'm at, it doesn't matter who they are.
Right,
I'm
and
always
just saying sexist comments.
You're doing really good over there yourself, brother.
I mean, the comments too, like the comments can get a little out of line, but like I think, you know, some of us, like, and for me, I just like thick skin, you know, whatever. Yeah, I'll give it back to somebody just as hard as they're giving it to me. And I've needled people at the poker table before too, like maybe been a little out of line. I'm not gonna not admit that, but you know, I mean, I've also apologized at the table for being out of line. And I think, I mean, like my only point is...
You shouldn't have punched that guy.
My only point is that like, I think you're completely correct. Like we should make it a more comfortable environment for humans in general, right? Like people shouldn't suck, but we don't need to be giving these super advantages to women. We don't need them. Like we can show up and we can win just like everyone else.
Can I ask them, why do you think women are underrepresented in poker at the degree they are compared to other intellectual endeavors and games? Because I don't know what the actual figures are, but it's really
risk tolerance probably thing. You know, like women, you know, women aren't as risky as men. I mean, maybe it's a card brain thing. I don't know. Like it's just not for everybody. Like I teach women poker online once a week. And I get really beginner players, and I'll start off with like 15 people or something. And I'll be like, by the end of it, maybe have like 4 or 5 if I'm lucky. And it's just, you know, they get into it and they just realize I don't really like this. It's not for me. And I don't know. I don't know if that's just women or maybe men are just more susceptible to try new things. We're definitely wired differently, men and women, right? Like it's just like a fact. Like we're just wired differently. So maybe it's has something to do with that. I'm not sure. I am a dumb man. I don't know what's happening. I don't know nothing. You know what I mean? Anything that brings more women into poker or more people into poker in general. You know what I mean? It's, you know, it's nice to have everyone playing something that's enjoyable, and yeah, we all love it, right? And if there is one thing that people, you just be supportive, to stick up for people. You know, don't be a dick. I don't know. That's step one, right?
Yeah.
Don't use the term white knighting either, man. Oh. Every time you say that, I hate you. Like, it's just the worst term I could think of. Like, sticking up for somebody else is not white knighting. Ooh, white knight. Ooh, he wants to fuck her. Like, all right, relax over there, okay?
Writing down LARPing and white knighting are on Kyna's do not use list.
Yeah.
I kind of liked the LARPing once it was intentional. I'm like, that's weird, but like, okay, like, go with it. Ooh, 5-action roleplay integrity.
I think it's interesting with women in poker and the evolution of it. It would make probably for a really good article or, you know, a deeper dive in terms of, you know, back during the poker boom, 2003, 2004, 5, 6, even 7. At some point, it went from you could walk through the World Series of Poker in the lobby. There would be, you know, advertisements featuring, you know, women in provocative clothing.
Sure,
you know, the models and that.
I saw my buddy Jeff Madsen had he has like a 2006 Ante-Up magazine, and it's like a bunch of women in thongs with poker stuff on it.
I thought you were going to talk about the rap.
The Jeff Madsen rap. Jeff Madsen's he's a killer. That
He's
boy,
awesome.
That boy will rap that boy can rap.
Yeah.
But yeah, they used to use that all the time in the advertisements. You don't see that really anymore. So there's been some positive movement in that regard with the World Series of Poker. I do think that ladies events are great in helping give women a safe space to start to learn the game. But then I think the issue, like Kyna alluded to, is, she starts with 15 people she's teaching, but by the end, only 4 of them are interested in maybe taking the next step. And so it becomes harder on each level, I think, to get women to the next competitive level, right? You obviously have done it. You competed on the MSPT, won Player of the Year, and there's others who have, Maria Ho, and Vanessa Selbst before, and there's a whole Women in Poker
My
Hall
fear
of
of
Fame.
being canceled is going up every second.
Well, it's like you said, though, like this is one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it with Kyna, because I feel the same way to like you in a lot of regards. Like, I'm just a stupid guy. Who am I to say? I'm
Sure.
certainly not an expert on it.
I think the debate about women's poker tournaments is one that we need to stop having. Like, I think let's just let the ladies play. Like, really, is it going to hurt you? Oh, we're taking away tables and space and dealers.
I'll say this. I played with Cherish Andrews. She actually won the 6 Max event, the 2200. I mean, she plays as good or better than any guy out there. I mean, I would take her apples to oranges against legitimately anyone.
Yeah, she's very good. I mean, and she's really well studied. She's put in the time. I think that's just in general what it takes to be good. Like, you want to get better, you will. And I just like the ladies tournaments too. Like you said, they are a safe space for ladies. A lot of ladies we teach ask me, where can I go play? I want to play. Where can I go play? And that's a good starting point. Just to say, like, women might be less intimidated when they're just around other women, and let the ladies play. That's all I can say about it.
Let the ladies
play.
Let me ask you this, because this is something we've encountered over the years with the poker reporting. And it used to be featured on ESPN. It used to be something they made a big deal out of. And then some people said, hey, that's not really a good compliment. Some people say, no, it is. So let me just ask, like the last woman standing in the main event.
I don't love it.
tournament.
I like it. Maybe I'm just being a big hypocrite, because I actually like it a lot in the main event. I think it means something. I think it's cool. There's so few women. Like, you see one woman make it. But then I don't like the aspect that we're competing against each other and that we're excited when another woman busts and we're the last one. Like, it's still just another player. You've made it one player farther. Like, so again, it's a topic I've changed my mind on in recent years. But I think in the main event, it's cool. Something to say that you did, right? Like, but I just hate the anti-sweat aspect of it.
I would say this too. Like, I'd say the vast majority of the audience is men. You look at any of the top Twitch streamers, everybody's attractive, right? I mean, it's just a fact, but both sexes like to look at the opposite, whoever you're attracted to, they look at pretty people. So I think a lot of it is, trying to get more eyes on, get more men, follow this woman, you know what I mean? It's just a fact that, sex sells. So it doesn't shock me that ESPN is going to,
Yeah, it's a tricky situation because they've come at it from both sides. Like, some people look at it as a compliment. Yes, please feature these women who are having accomplishments. But also some are saying, well, you shouldn't differentiate between,
I'll tell you this much. I'm sick of people watching me only for my body. I will not stand for this.
That's another interesting thing, though, is that, like, when they put the last woman standing out sometimes too, like, people are just so critical on women poker players' looks. Like, I don't think anybody would see a picture of Mike and be like, oh man, these are all the things that are awful about you.
No.
Like,
They would.
not nearly as much though. Like,
I agree.
It's just like she's not hot. Like, oh, sorry. Like, did I have to be hot for you to play poker? Like, that's a lot of.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
We have somebody working for PokerNews who is in a very public sphere doing social media. She's young, new to the industry, and she asked me if I had any recommendations or tips. And I did say along the lines, because I've worked with Sarah Herring, I worked with Lynn Gilmartin, Christy Arnett, some of the most successful hostesses. And I remember each of them would say, don't read the comments, because no matter what they said, no matter what they wore, how they dressed, they would have people doing what you said and just being so critical and coming at them. And it really makes them have to get a thick skin.
Yeah, she's dressed too sexy. She's not dressed sexy enough. Oh, she's so ugly. Oh, she's like too much makeup on. I think like Tiffany Michelle recently got some hate too about just some outfits she wore. Like, who cares? cares what other people wear? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just hate that.
I'll say, if we're putting out a video, a podcast, if you're putting out television, whatever it is, I mean, people are just going to comment. That's how it naturally is. There's going to be some dickheads in there saying crazy shit. I mean, it's unfortunate, but no matter what, I mean, you think there's not going to be a comment under this video saying Mike's bald as a bird? I want it to have 40 likes.
All right. Well, let us move on from the topic. We'll continue, to profile women and the successes that they have, because I do think it's important in poker and at PokerNews. We do that throughout the summer. We try to have different initiatives, and maybe kind of use you as a sounding board from time. Like, because I don't know. Sometimes it's something that might sound like a good idea to me.
Yeah,
I love it, and I love that. Shout out to Cherish for winning that huge tournament. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the women that make it through those fields, she's we're a smaller percent, so it is exciting to see somebody make it through such a
she's smashing souls out there.
It was such a tough field too, and make it through and just win.
That was one of the toughest fields I've ever played. I was really shocked. I thought it was going to be a much easier field, and it was, very difficult. So. Yeah,
Victoria too. I think Victoria made a bunch of final tables and stuff like that. So good Victoria, for the women that are out there showing up and playing well and getting it done.
Yeah, let's go, Vicky.
Love to see it. Well, let's talk one last topic in this episode of the PokerNews podcast, and that is reality TV. There's been a lot of overlap over the years from the poker industry to reality TV and vice versa. And right now there's some stuff going on in the poker world, in the reality TV world, in terms of, there was an article we did on PokerNews. So Chip and Karina Jett, I don't know if you're familiar, old school legends in the poker world, live in Vegas.
Yep.
They run a really fun charity tournament every year too at South Point. I played it last year. It was really, really well done. Really fun.
Two people I highly respect. Well, they have a daughter named Athena. She's not a poker player per se. She's not old enough yet. But one thing that a lot of poker players in Vegas knows is that over the years, she would perform on Friday nights at Roma Deli.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Call back to episode 1.
We're gonna talk about Kessler and Roma Deli every episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you got another topic. We got Kessler to talk about, too.
We do have to talk about Alan at some point.
But so Athena Jett is going to be on American Idol.
Yeah.
And she can sing.
For her, yeah.
And we don't know the outcome, but the early indications are that she probably does quite well.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think the poster of Boston Rob, who we're going to talk about in a minute. Well, we'll get there. So
you want me to roll back and fix it here?
No, I want you to just tear it down, and then we'll hold it up over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just rip it off there. It's Boston Rob. He's a buddy of mine. He's going to see this and he's going to be like, what the hell? So, I mean, American Idol, that used to be it kind of used to be like in the poker world, right? If you made the final table of the main event in 2006-07, you were going to be a superstar. You're going to get a sponsorship. You were going to be a big deal. I feel like the early days of American Idol were like that. Like you could finish in 6th place and you're still going to get a record deal. I don't know if it still has that same
I have no idea. It's not on my radar for the most part.
I don't really watch it anymore. I did watch it a lot when it first came out, but not anymore.
I'm going to watch it because of, Athena Jett.
Yeah, that's exciting.
And so if you do check it out, I think on March 17th or something like that is going to be her audition. And apparently it's going to be pretty good. So it's a good.
I'm sure the whole poker community will be rooting her on. So that's going to be cool.
I think it's just a good, heartwarming story. We talk so much about battling at the tables. Got to remember, people have families.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the other show, and I'm going to talk about, we had to rip it down, but Boston Rob Mariano is on Deal or No Deal Island with Brantzen Poker, who's on the other one over there.
Yep, that's my dog, too.
I say we just played with him.
Brantzen's my boy, man. I've been smoking with him since the 60s.
Yeah. I was just playing with him at South Point.
I've known Brantzen since Nam, yeah.
He was at the South Point nightly with me the other day. Go hot dogs.
Go hot dogs.
And we just played with him on Poker Night in America.
Yeah. That's how I met him. I haven't known him since Vietnam. That was a lie.
Yeah. Since now.
Weirdo.
Yeah. I've known Brantzen he's done some work through PokerNews, but I hadn't met him in person until that Poker Night in America thing. And so when I heard he was on Deal or No Deal Island with Boston Rob, who I know through poker, he plays the Run Good Poker series. I'd say we've become friendly. And I'm like, I got to watch this. But from early indications, I seen Brantzen was going to go after Boston Rob.
Oh, okay.
If you know anything about reality TV,
you don't go at Boston Rob.
So how does it? Are they on? They're living Survivor, but they're also playing Deal or No Deal.
Essentially, yeah, it's like a mashup. So they're on an island. They're doing these physical competitions, and then there's going to be two people and the bottom. Eventually, one of them kind of gets selected or voted in to play Deal or No Deal, the classic game that with all, the cases.
Yeah.
And their goal is to make a good deal. If they make a good deal, by that, if they accept an offer and their briefcase has less than that, they made a good deal.
Oh.
If it has more, they made a bad deal.
Yeah, I heard for season 2 they're going to do Naked and Afraid and Wheel of Fortune at the same time. So stay tuned for that.
Hold on,
reality
though.
TV mashups.
So then, if you make a bad deal, are you out? Like you voted out?
So no, if you make a bad deal, you're out. You're eliminated.
Okay.
If you make a good deal, then you get to pick who is eliminated.
Oh, from anybody?
Yeah.
That doesn't have immunity.
One person has immunity, right?
So if you make a good deal, do you also get to keep the money?
No, so they're all adding
trash.
they're all adding to like a big pot that one winner will win at the end.
Okay,
but apparently many millions.
Damn.
Oh, many millions.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty
Yeah,
sick. I just watched Traders on Peacock, is this on Peacock too, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I just watched Traders. Shout out Trishelle. GTO strategy is at the end, Trishelle. Woof. Killing it.
But Brantzen, spoiler alert, this is several weeks ago now when it premiered, but first one out.
Oh,
I got the vibe when you said you shouldn't have gone. When you come with the king, you best not miss.
No, right. Like you can't just come in hard. That's like reality 101. Don't come in hard. Like don't come in swinging. Like settle down.
Yeah.
Just stay back.
Pause.
Yeah.
Don't come in hard.
She knows. I mean, because Game of Gold is, I would consider reality TV, right?
I would
reality
absolutely.
Well, I just
Yeah.
pretended like I was the worst poker player there and made it to the end,
You're a pretty good actor.
Well, Boston Rob is still in as we're recording this, so that's good. And
Let's go be Rob.
yeah, I do like Boston Rob. I think a 2-time Run Good circuit, Run Good Poker Series ring winner. He is actually a really nice guy, and it's one of those things. Like I've met Boston Rob, and you meet him, you play these games with him. I played like Ultimate Werewolf with him and such, and you're like, okay, I'm aware that this is Boston Rob, and I need to be careful. But that guy's just so charming.
He loves you to sleep, doesn't he? Yeah.
He just wins you over one way or the other. So we'll have to keep an eye to see if he continues to do well on Deal or No Deal. And I do want to ask you guys, if you could be on a reality TV show, which one would it be? Not Game of Gold, that's not counting. Like one of these reality TV shows. We're going to get you two on Amazing Race, maybe. I don't know.
So actually, I was going to say, me and my best friend, my best friend in the world, we've been friends since we were 6, and we have very different lives. Like she's a mom of 4, and I live in Las Vegas and gamble for a living. And so we're very different, but we've always talked about going on the Amazing Race. And her kids are old enough now. I actually think we might submit a video next year and try and get on it. Because it's just been something we always talk about. We even already worked out, like, who's going to do what.
There's only been one poker couple there, Maria Ho and Tiffany Michelle.
I talked to Maria about it, too. I was like, I'm going to do it. She's like, all right, let me know if you need any advice. I'm like, okay. So stay tuned. Maybe next year.
Mike, what about you? Which reality TV show would you pick?
Man, I don't know reality TV, but how do I get on Prices Right? I'm trying to play some Plinko.
That's easy.
You know what I mean?
I'm
trying
Prices Right.
Bloop. I mean, yeah, you just apply. Like my old PokerNews co-host, he wasn't on Price Right, but he was just on Wheel of Fortune. And I've went through the Wheel of Fortune process twice, and I've never actually gotten on.
My buddy Kyle Mahalik, Jack in the Box guy, he's been on least one time. He's been on so many game shows, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's funny. Remember that, like James Holriser on Jeopardy?
Sure,
Jeopardy, yeah.
Changed the way that game's played. Right,
Yeah.
he brought a GTO aspect to it.
That boy's plus EV.
For me, it would be Survivor. I've watched Survivor since the year 2000. Been a huge fan. It's a game that's changed over the years. It's not as enticing as it once was, but it's still going strong, and I just love that community. I actually got to play in the summer of 2022 a live reality game. We talked about LARPing, right, which is live action role playing.
Right.
The LRGs are live reality games. So basically, it was a 4 or 5 day game in Illinois, in the middle of nowhere, like literally sleeping in the woods, on the ground, no tents.
It was Naked and Afraid, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I might have gotten naked, but kick you up. No, but it was a lot of fun to actually even get a little taste of that experience. So, and I would like to see more poker reality TV mashups, whatever that might be, right? Because they took a chance with Game of Gold, and clearly it was a hit. Clearly there is an audience for that sort of thing. I don't know what the next mashup would be.
Well, so I don't really know too many reality TV shows. So you guys, like, what reality TV show should I be on if like I want to be?
Big Brother would be pretty sick.
Well, I want to be really lazy.
Big Brother.
I don't want to
Big
do
Brother.
too much activity.
Big,
you know
Big
what I
Brother,
mean?
yeah.
Big Brother? Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. All right. Big Brother. All right. Shout out Kevin Martin. Cool.
And Kevin Martin right now in the middle of, he's been streaming for like, as we're recording this, like probably 350 hours straight in this bankroll challenge.
That's crazy.
I'm sure he's filled with regret right now. I'm sure he's like, I should not have done this.
He was like streaming from the bathtub the other day. We're like, what are you doing?
For those who don't know, he did this crazy thing where he was going to run up $0 into 5,000 and he's streaming it the entire time. That includes him in the bathtub.
But he
and
gets
him
to count
sleeping.
donations, right? Like he's allowed to count donations toward his bankroll.
I
and
don't
stuff.
think that's probably true
Okay,
because otherwise,
I like cursory looked over it.
yeah, he ended up pawning a few things, so he raised like $200 as his initial startup money.
Well, I heard
felt-
he had pawned some other things since then too. Is that?
Oh, really?
I don't know.
I felt like he should have had to like win a free roll or like get a steak or something. Like you have to really poker do it.
I feel like he should
everybody
have
has
to live
things.
in a cardboard box. That's the
Right.
only fair way to really do this. You know, go from homeless to
Well, speaking of homeless, Alan Kessler, we've got a few minutes.
shit.
We've got a few minutes to.
Yeah.
I'm going to hear about that one. I'll get a message, no doubt.
Yeah, no, obviously. Holy cow.
But you both
What are you
said
talking about?
Yeah.
you both said we got to talk about Alan Kessler a little bit. Kyna, what do you got to say about Alan?
Oh man, Alan. I love Alan and I really do. And I'm always in Alan's corner. I stick up for Alan because I don't like it when people are mean to Alan. You can be mean to Alan if it's funny, right? It's got to be equally mean and funny. But Alan, I was in Hammond and I was during the main event and Alan comes up to my table and he's like, Kyna, I heard you guys were talking about me or saying mean things on the podcast. I was like, what? Alan, do you think I would do that? And he's like, no, I heard you were. I'm like, did you even watch it? And he's like, no, only like 400 people watch that. No one watches that. So I'm like, all right, now we're definitely going to say mean things about you.
No, Alan Kessler is a jabroni. Okay, Alan Kessler has. I'm going to have as many WSOP caches as Alan Kessler's had in his 107-year career. In the 3 years I've been playing, I'm like 20 away. So I don't know what's going on. He shouldn't talk about poker skill. Like that would be for someone who's actually good at poker, right? Like he's known by everyone as one of the worst poker players of all time. Kind of shocking for him to talk about poker in any capacity, I would say. I don't know.
I mean, he thinks this is a fake bracelet. He tells me all the time.
Where did he get his real bracelet?
Wait, your
at?
bracelet? No, you won it in it's not a fake one.
I mean, it's the casino employees
Yeah, but it's
event.
like a real event. It's not like an online.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, online, it's so easy. That's why everyone does so well against me on there.
Well, we do. I think we do all love Alan.
We love Alan, but he has
like
to
Alan
get
at all.
Two out of three. Two
he
out of
has,
three.
to,
ain't
he
bad.
has to get needled back, all right? You can't just come up to my table while I'm playing and deliver that and not expect some repercussion.
It's outlandish.
He
I
won't
don't know.
watch this anyway.
No, yeah, I'm sure he won't watch it, but I'm sure he'll know every detail of it, but he won't watch it, you know?
Well, I want to tease our episode next week. We'll be back here at Level 9 Studio, and I'm slated to speak with him. We played with him on Poker Night in America, Corey Eyring.
Oh, yeah.
fun.
Our episode's not out yet.
I know, but
What's going on there, Corey? Where's our episode at, brother? I wait every day. I type in Corey Poker. I'm giving you them views, them algorithms, big boy. I got you.
But Corey Poker's doing something crazy, right? He's spending a year playing. He's putting his whole net worth on it, and he wants to get to 500K. And he says he's going to come to Vegas and put it all on red or black at roulette, and either
boy.
double it to $1 million or lose it all. And he's documenting all this in his vlogs. Very entertaining. I didn't get to know him until we played with him.
Yeah, he's cool people.
Yeah, and I said, let me try to do an interview. So he's agreed to it, but he's also one of these young poker players where he's not going to bed at 9 o'clock at night. It's hard to nail him down.
I like his heart. He's good people. I like that. That's a good person to interview. He's really exciting, and yeah, one of the new kids in poker. New kids? How old is he?
I mean, he's got to be in his early 20s. I'll find out for sure.
That's
but,
a child to me. I don't know,
I
but
know.
I love the guy. He's cool. I hope he finds a lot of success in poker. He's a nice kid.
His vlog is like very reminiscent of like old Ryan DePaulo vlogs
Yes.
too. Like definitely. And
Shout out to
shout out to Ryan DePaulo. If you can see my sweatshirt, I'm wearing my minus EVD Gen sweatshirt. So
Oh hell yeah, the Paul is the man.
If all goes according to plan, we'll have some clips of him in next week's episode, but that is going to do it for this episode, the 821st episode of the Poker News Podcast. I am Chad Holloway, Kyna England, Mike Holtz. Until next week, we'll keep a seat open for you.
We out.